Hi, my name is Dr. Mike Lloyd and I'm the director of the CTAG clinic, and occasionally I like to just sort of talk about issues that get raised in therapy or just sort of standard things that many people go through. I did a video a while ago about the 7 types of toxic parent, and there's a bit of an interest in what's called the godlike parent. So I thought I'd do a short follow-up video on that godlike parent just to give a little bit more kind of character to that and sort of explain what happens and the impact and what the cost of it actually is to have these sort of parents. And in normal developmental terms, the parents are the people that the child is absolutely and totally dependent on. So they get born to the parent or the parents, they look to them for absolutely everything, to be fed, to be watered, to be clothed, nurtured, played with, teased, loved, absolutely everything. And the child really just has to completely and utterly abandon themselves at the whim of these parents. And that's usually fine because most parents are of the mindset of saying we'll do anything to look after our child and we'll do anything to raise our child properly, give them the best possible start in life. So what happens though is the normal developmental process is the parents are trying to get the child to do something, or the baby, the infant, to do something, and the natural tendency to start rebelling kicks in, and that's when we have that kind of thing, the terrible twos. So between, sort of 2 all the way up to sort of like going into school, which may be about 4 years old, there can be a bit of conflict between the child and the parents. And a clever parent, a parent who's looking at this with understanding and with maturity, is going, well, that's what I want my child to be doing. I want them to question, I want them to rebel, I want them to say no, I want them to be feisty, because these are the characteristics of independence. So the growth of independence starts when the child starts not wanting to do what the parents are getting them to do. And it will be conflict around food and what to wear and when to go out and all of these sort of things. And the good parent should really be looking at this and going, this is great, my child is going to be feisty, they're independent, in the knowledge that actually they'll come around completely over the years and they'll be absolutely fine. And you've just got to let them do it and let them have that phase. That's an important developmental milestone for those kids to have, so that they feel really secure in being able to say no, and why are you making me do this, and I don't want to do it like that, and I want to do it like this, and my way is the right way. This is the construct of independence that will last them for the rest of their lives. But the godlike parents are the ones who believe that everything we do is the right way, and it doesn't matter whether it's completely irrational or illogical or just plain stupid. The way that some of these parents go about this is I know best. So any opportunity for that child to say no, to rebel, to assert their independence over the parents is crushed. So this is where we see that godlike, that I know best. I am all-seeing, I am all-knowing, and everything I have and set up is correct. And if anybody, including my own child, disagrees with that, they are in the wrong. So the child grows up learning that anything that they try and do that is sort of not currying favour with the parents is seen as bad, harmful, incorrect, wrong behaviour. And the same godlike parents are often hypercritical. They will tell the child, you are being bad, you are doing wrong, you shouldn't question me, you're a bad child, you're a naughty child, and so on and so on and so on. So the child really learns that the only way to appease the parents is to completely give in, let them have their way. But they're still dependent on them. So they're losing that characteristic of fighting that dependence with their own independence, which is what we want children to grow up to have, to become independent adults. These children really are just living under the sway and the nature of these godlike parents. So the child learns to just give in and obey and do whatever it is that they're supposed to do. And that actually sets the child up for a really problematic life in adult relationships, because when they're in an adult relationship or a teenage relationship, let's say, falling in love for the first time or thinking about marrying someone or getting into long-term relationships, whatever it might be, when that person starts behaving sort of like, poorly and making demands that are not fair, the natural inclination is to go with it, to appease, to obey, and just give in and let them have their way. You then have a massive power imbalance, and that's actually what happens in a lot of abusive relationships. So one of the questions that often gets raised in therapy is, why do I keep going from relationship to relationship, and I'm meeting these people and they are just being horrible to me all the time, and they won't let me have anything, coercive control, violent, abusive, whatever these sort of relationships may end up being. And we often look back at the start point in childhood and go, well, it's kind of how you were raised by your parents to accept someone treating you badly and you not questioning it and you not challenging that authority of the other person. And a good relationship really should be founded on a mutual meeting in the middle about independence and reliability and trustworthiness and all those different things. But these godlike parents do not set their children up for that, because that would be an attack on their authority as adults, as parents, and they can't bear to have that. So we try and help people understand that the way that you've been grown, the way that you've been sort of like nurtured and looked after in childhood really has this resounding impact in adulthood. And many of the adult relationships that people struggle with and get into these kind of abusive, power, imbalanced relationships are often, not always, but are often the root of which is based on the nature of the parenting that they received when they were very, very small children, before they had any idea of what was happening. So realistically, by the time these kids get to school, a lot of the damage has been done, and the nature and the direction of their relationships is often being set. And that's really, really sad, and therapy can be really powerful, a way of being able to help a person understand that, to let go of that sort of that imbalanced authority appeasement to those godlike parents, and to begin to grow and nurture their own independence. Because the beauty of this is it's never too late to be able to grow and learn how to be independent. It just takes resources, practice and support. And we firmly believe that these things are entirely possible. So I hope that's been an interesting video, just sort of following up on one of those type of toxic parents. If I have time and opportunity, I may sort of look at some of the other ones. But that was really the starting point, because developmentally, that's such a key obstacle to get over, to have parents who are willing to be challenged, who enjoy being challenged, who nurture that challenge, really does set that child up to believe that they can go out and make a difference in the world and be their own person, which is a wonderful and powerful thing for them to take into their adult life. So please leave any comments, let us know what you think of the video, and I'll keep making them and hopefully make them interesting for everybody. So thanks ever so much for watching, and as always, please do take great care.